What's up, everyone? This is Ronnie, and I'm coming to you from Cape Cod, Massachusetts. And I'm just going to make a video here today talking about 6 brands of cast iron cookware that sells on eBay. You could sell this stuff on Etsy, your antique booth. I know people that sell it all different kind of ways. And this is if this is your first time coming to this channel, you just stumble across this. Me and my wife do this full time. We resell everything and everything from clothing to vintage advertising to cookware to whatever I got to do to make a dollar and not work for the man, basically. But with that being said, we have lots of videos if you ever want to stroll around. We also have a show every Tuesday night, me and the Golden Finger Picker on this channel, Picker's Church, and also you catch me on Golden Finger Picker's channel Friday night with himself and Craigslist Hunter Pete, if that's your kind of thing, the live shows and that and so on and so forth. But you can also catch those on reruns or whatever you want to call it later. Don't have to watch it when it's live. A lot of good information. But anyway, let's get back into the meat and potatoes of what we want to talk about here. Selling cast iron. We're going to go through a few different brands here that I've come across, I've sold, and I didn't really know about cast iron cookware. I didn't really know about this stuff. And I remember Terminal 99 talking about it in one of his videos. Another great guy. Check him out, Will. Wealth of knowledge. But with that being said, we're going to jump into it. And like anything, do your own research, but we're going to talk about it because I've sold a few pieces here and there. I've sold pieces anywhere from $10 that had damage to $1,400. And just because it has the name doesn't mean it's 100% valuable. So with that being said, we're going to get a screen share and we'll start jumping through some of these things here. So one of the brands, and this is a current brand that you will run across sometimes, very high end. Most people would know about this brand. It's Creuset. It's a French company. This is a brand that mostly you'll see them around in higher end malls, outlet malls. By us have them. And very expensive pieces. I mean, if you ever go to their store, they're a few hundred dollars each new. Just going through the used ones because most of the time we're not going to find new ones out there. This is the only one that's really current or brand that you could run across. I mean, you find these at sometimes TJ Maxx or Marshalls too. But you see these bigger ones here going for some big money. It's the 13-quart. 15-quart. Those are some big boys. Those are like lobster pots, or make some beef stew with those. You know, they're very colorful, as you see here. They got patterns to them of color, and like anything else, you know, it was a nice looking one right there. These are heavy. I've had a few different pieces in the past. Very heavy. You want to make sure you put the right shipping on these because if you live on one side of the coast to the other, they will eat into your profit pretty quickly doing free shipping. But you see a lot of different pieces here, and you'll find these sometimes damaged. They do have a warranty. I'm not sure how it works. I've heard of people sending in pieces and getting newer pieces back. You know, I'm not really sure how it's worked because I've never tried it, but they are one of those companies that do have a very good warranty. So it is something to look into if you find one that may be damaged from too much use or something like that. But for the most part, you see here, we skipped around a little bit, but you know, there is some value depending on, it seems like the Dutch oven ones do very well. These tureens. And just very good pans. You're not going to be using, we have a glass top stove. We wouldn't try using one of these. I think it would be a disaster. But a brand to look out for right there. Now we're going to get into more of the vintage cookware. These are some brands I've come across. I've come across one of these in the past. I didn't get much for it. I maybe got about 40 for the one I found. I don't even know how to pronounce this. Volrath. Maybe you see right here. Here's the logo, what it looks like. I mean, and a lot of times you'll find these, they'll be dirty, they'll be crusty, and it's under your discretion if you're gonna waste. Not, I shouldn't say waste. If you're gonna have the time to clean them up, there's a lot of good videos out there. A lot of different people believe in a lot of different methods to clean them. I've heard everything from throwing them in a fireplace or fire pit, which I would not recommend, to getting them. What do you want to call it? Getting them. I don't know what you call it, but send them out to somebody to get them cleaned up, or throwing them in. I think Square Deal guy put a bunch of these in with some Coca-Cola in a tote. I'm kind of curious. I gotta message him after this to see how that actually did, because I don't remember the outcome. But there's ways to clean these up. I mean, most of the time I will you sell them as is, let the buyer kind of do his thing to them, just because time is money, or unless it's really going to affect the value as much, I would take the time to clean it up. But this is one brand here to look out for, and there's probably a bunch of other brands. Like I said, we're going to go through about 6 brands. There's a lot of other brands out there. And a lot of these people, pieces are local pieces to a certain area, so you might not come across them depending on what part of the country you live in. This is another brand I've known. I believe friend Mark picked one of these up. This is a, what do you want to call it here? Wapak. It has like an Indian on it. I've never found one of these personally. These actually look pretty cool. I believe this is local to New England area, if I'm not mistaken, this brand. Maybe not. It does say Ohio there. I could have been fooled or wrong. But you see some of these bring very good money. Majority of them kind of seem to have that Indian head on it. And, you know, they seem to only have a few different pans, with one being that frying pan looks to be really what they make. There's 173 that have sold, so they are a little harder to come by. I mean, if you figure that's over 2 months, I mean, so 2 sell a day, so probably a little harder to come by. I mean, we see here how many's currently listed, 61, so these are a little harder to come by, I would say, these ones. But good money to be there if you do come across it. Another brand here. This is a common brand. This is one that's still made today, Lodge. And so you see some of these pieces, the bigger pieces, actually, I can't believe that piece sold for that much money. But maybe it did. That seems just very high. But you know, see a bunch of these here. These ones seem to be, this company seem to be the Dutch oven ones, seem to do really well. And some recent ones here for Cracker Barrel 2012. I mean, like anything, I've seen some of these that bring good money, and I've seen some ones that don't bring good money. This one, they didn't even clean it up. They just let it rip the way it is. I mean, still got $275 for that, so that was really nice. One with ducks and stuff like that. I mean, pretty cool. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them right there. Just get an idea of some of the ones to look for. Lodge has a bunch of different pans, so you always kind of want to you know, if you're looking, look up the size, have an idea of I mean, if we jump along here, a few, they do drop down in value pretty quickly. Covers sometimes can sell for very good money by themselves. There's another cover right there. And they have those little things for the dripping. Says the steam would go up. It would kind of drip back down over the meat you're cooking evenly, supposedly. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, a bunch of different ones here. You know, this is probably a common one. You'll probably come across these ones common, but you want to use your common sense with trying to buy. You don't want to buy too much, or you don't want to buy too recent of a one because they actually might not have that great a value. Wagner Ware is probably, I would guess, second best one to find, depending on another brand that you find newer pieces. They're not worth as much as the older pieces. Look through here. I mean, they got a funky waffle maker over here. Nice little pan. I mean, that thing looks really clean. It has like a pie logo right there. So that's a good size pan. A number 12 is a very large pan. There's another Dutch oven. I don't even know what that is. Corn dog maker or something right there. Waffle iron. I don't know. That's a weird waffle iron. Another little pie, you know, pie-shaped thing. Some of these oval roasters. I mean, some of these bring some really good money, as you see here. Another one selling a bunch of pans right here. It kind of looks like they just threw a bunch of them together because it says set include Wagner and Griswold and so on and so forth. That seems odd, but bunch of other ones right here. You know, sometimes I'll sell them like this without a problem because I'll let my buyer clean them up and do very well, you know, fix them up the way they want to. I don't want to be responsible for that as much. But a lot of different, and there's a lot of great videos here on YouTube if you want to clean them up. With that being said, there's a lot of different ones here. See the different ones. There's just a cover, went for $190. I mean, another waffle iron one here. Skip a little bit here and just, they look very good. I mean, you find the right piece, you're gonna have some money right here. I mean, it's just like anything. When you pick up something, you want to research it to make sure you get the right piece. Some Wagner pieces like this one right here, and I've sold some in the past. They did a thing with Magnalite for a while, and sometimes there's Wagner. They're like these chrome-looking ones, and they actually do fairly well if you get the larger size ones. Will do actually well. They tend to sit around. They not seem to be slowed down. They're not as big a sellers as they were a few years ago, but they still bring money if you can get into them for a cheap price. We'll just show you what that kind of stuff looks like real quick. You see some of these pieces right here. I've picked these up all the time when I see them. I've usually find a few every year during garage sales, you know, and most of the time you can pick these up pretty cheap. They have a trivet inside most of the time. You want to make sure the trivet's there. You can sell it without the trivet. It's not that big of a deal, but the trivet will add value to it. There's the trivet inside. Magnalite numbers on them. Wagner Ware, Sydney. They were made in Sydney, Ohio, if I believe right. But these sell really well. And I mean, this is something else I learned from Terminal 99 over the years. Get into these for a cheap enough price. I mean, pick them up and do well. Now, the top, basically the cream of the crop when it comes to cast iron cookware is Griswold. And now there's a lot of different logos that you have to watch out with Griswold. As you see here, there's 21,000 listings. There's a lot of these. There's certain pans that do really well. And a lot of them have numbers here. You see like size 11 is the size of the pan, but you'll see here on the bottom under PA, there's a number 717, and that's the model number, or the, I believe it's the model number, serial, like a serial number. Some of these, depending on how many they were made, are actually a better indicator of your value than the number 11 for say, because some are made differently. These logos here in the middle are all differently. The early ones will actually just say almost Erie on them. That's it. And then they kind of go to this Griswold right here. This is a little older one. This is probably from the 20s to the 40s, I would say. Now, if that Griswold in the middle of the cross is kind of slanted, that's a little earlier. That's about pre-1920s, probably 1910 to 1920s. And then if that logo is very smaller, and we're talking very small, as you see this one, this is a big size pan. This is a size 11. It's probably 12 inches, 11 inches. That's a pretty good size logo. When you get the smaller logos, they're like an inch big or so. They're not as collectible pieces, but they do sell for the right price, but they're not as highly as collectible as other pieces. And you see right here, here's one right here, early pan with just the Erie on it. Number 9. Really nice looking pans. And these, I mean, this is just a cover. Let's go to sold. I don't know why we're looking through current listings. Get an idea right here. I mean, that's pretty cool right there, that clock. Come across that right there. That sold for $5,000. I mean, that is pretty slick right there. Here's a crusty old top right here. I mean, somebody's selling this crusty old top. I mean, right there, $70, 10 bits, you know, 3 days left. I mean, talking some money right here, baby. I mean, there's money in this stuff, without a doubt. Some big pans right here, 13. I had one of these recently and sold it and did fairly well. Here's another one. This guy got $2,000 for a pan. Really well. There's heat rings to these too. Let's see if we can show you here. There's a lot of different things. You see that ring around the corner here, all the way around. That's called a heat ring. Heat ring ones are earlier to kind of heat their heat in. Very good. You're just seeing a bunch of different like pans here. The bigger the size, usually the most better. They do have a smaller one that does really well, and I can't remember the name of it. Here's a Griswold kitchen coffee grinder. I mean, that went for $900. I mean, that's like some freaking good money over here. You don't really want to pick these up if they're cracked or broken. And you kind of really want to check when you're listing them, especially if you're listing the more higher dollar ones. You always want to lay them down on a flat surface and kind of put your hand in it and see if there's any wobble either way. People will ask you for that. You will have returns if it wobbles and you don't list it as so. So you always want to make sure. I mean, they make so many different cast iron cookware. I mean, Griswold even made railroad lights, the cast iron railroad lights there for a while. So I mean, a lot of these companies like this one, I mean, they just sell a lot of good stuff. There's some baking pans. I mean, that one went for pretty good freaking money right there. I mean, $450. Number 2, I think that was the small pan that does really well, as you see right there. I mean, there's just a cover, size 13 cover went for $425. Now, if you put the cover with the pan, you could probably get $3,000. As separately, you're not going to get as much. They probably could have got more than the $425, I betcha. They got coffee. They got little molds here. I've come across only a mold one time. Another thing that they have is grinders, the meat grinders. You kind of want to stay away from the meat grinders. Show you. I sold a few of these pieces not recently. I picked this up with the other pan. Sold this for about $20. See the condition. Condition is so. It's just a little surface rust. But if you see this picture right here, I didn't see it when I picked it up. It had a crack across the handle here. It's a great wall hanger, but other than the cook at it or anything like that, it's not going to really do you much good. But I listed it so priced it as well. Thing was, I got that and the cover together for $20. You see right here, we sold the cover for $77. And this stuff usually sells fairly quickly for me. And this was a big home run here. I picked this up for $75. We actually sold this for $1,400. This is size 13. You see right there the little number in the bottom, 720. Griswold, it's on a slant, kind of gives you the age of the piece from 1910 to 1930-ish. I believe it's a little earlier than that, actually. I think they stopped making the slant 1910. Problem is, there's so many different publications and even books, and they all have condescending information on them. But you can see a lot of different pieces here, that are out there. And you could even source this stuff from eBay to sell back on eBay. And this is great stuff that people look and buy for on Etsy. I don't sell on Etsy. I know other people that do. I know a friend up in the North Shore. He has a whole wall of cast iron cookware. I mean, and just has the right person come in or a few people come in. You kind of want to stick to the made in USA stuff. You don't really want to mess with the anything that's made in China, made in where else? You want to stay with the made in USA stuff. I'm trying to find a smaller logo just to give you a idea of what it looks like right here. I mean, this is a size 12. This one for, of course, good money. Bigger pan's going to go for big money. But these smaller logos, they are very hit or miss with the pans. You really kind of want to be careful with the smaller logo ones. Still do good, but they're not as highly as collectible. This is a large pan, so number 12 would sell well. But hope you like this video. Talk a little bit about these things. I mean, you could find these out there. People come across them all the time after I put them in a whole video, or if I put them in a sales update video. People come across them, but you do have to use common sense and do have to do a little research when you find the pieces. You're not going to find that $1,400 piece every day, and not every piece is going to be worth money. But like, comment, subscribe, everybody, and I'll see you later. Have a good day.